In August, two friends and I spent a week backpacking and camping in Rocky Mountain National Park. More than anything else, I consider it an escape. At times, we had forgotten all about the pandemic. We strapped ourselves up with everything we needed to live outside for the next few days, and it felt like we were really committing. I noticed how coercive nature was in instilling a sense of simplicity. Being completely surrounded by miles of raw land forces your mental removal from civilization. It makes clear that all you have to focus on is now. And it's stark to go from this to this. We journeyed further through the woods when the grounding qualities of nature made themselves apparent. To get to our campsite, we crossed a stream and bounced along a trail bed composed of softened tree remains. We finally arrived beside an intimidating hill of boulders where our campsite would reside for the coming days. This point marks the onset of a sentiment defined by oneness with nature. We walked the field of boulders, all speckled with the same blue-green lichen. Just as walking through city streets seemed different to traversing dirt trails when we began our journey, this new land could be traveled only in leaps from one boulder to another. In this merging of worlds is where I felt my perspective shift from terrestrial to otherworldly, from comfortably human to refreshingly alien. Nature was intoxicating, or rather detoxifying. The distinctive lack of overwhelming stimuli is what draws many to hiking, camping, or nature in general. It provides a space of serenity and calmness, and functions as a beautiful backdrop for contemplation. The hike to the campsite was more silent than not, but where voices were absent, thoughts and experiences were loud. Nature, such a pure setting, inspired a more fluid rendering of introspection and of awareness. This is to say, there existed omniscience within myself and my senses, but I was still aware of the limitations of my perceptions. What I remember most is that everything had its own little world. Whether it was the lichen on the boulders, the foliage bending by the stream's current, the insects in the grass, everything possessed an identifiable intricacy. And with this intricacy came personality. The trees were dancing in the wind as viewed from the swaying hammock beneath them, and the soft, decomposed ground took a breath with each and every step. The earth exhibited a blissful dismissal of worldly problems, and radiated the closest thing to happiness that a sphere of water and rocks is capable of expressing. Alan Watts said, "Man suffers only because he takes seriously what the gods made for fun." An existentialist or a stoic will reinforce this notion with the recognition that we are tiny and insignificant. Watts also remarked, "You and I are all as much continuous with the physical universe as a wave is continuous with the ocean." Being encompassed by naturality makes evident the vast reality of our planet, and in doing so conveys not just the utter futility of the individual, but also the acknowledgement of a bigger picture, so to speak. The world is an enormously complex, interrelated organism. Humans tend to look at things in bits and pieces, and this is so in the case of the Earth. It's so complicated that no one mind can understand it. It is my belief that the Earth is willing us into accordance with nature and begging us to focus on the bits and pieces that are fun.